This is the funeral of a billionaire, but his children don't show sadness on their faces and complain about the rain. The eldest son pours his father's ashes, and suddenly there's a loud noise that scatters the ashes. It turns out the grandson arrived to attend the funeral. He steps out of the car wearing sunglasses, holding a cigarette, and is followed by his friends. When his mother sees him, she scolds him for being late, but he doesn't care. After the funeral, the children gather cheerfully, bringing their own teams of lawyers to divide their father's inheritance. Unexpectedly, when the lawyer reads the will, they don't receive a penny. The eldest son loses patience, and the second daughter leaves in annoyance. The grandson was excluded from the inheritance because he had a tense relationship with his grandfather due to rumors that he caused his father's early death. He never expected to receive any inheritance, so he prepares to leave when he sees everyone else has gone. However, at this moment, the lawyer stops him and says that the grandfather left a video for him. Irritated, he sits down and puts his feet on the table. The grandfather says in the video, "It's all my fault. I mishandled family matters. I'm sorry for you. To make up for it, I'm giving you a super gift. There are 6 gifts, each better than the previous one, but you must complete the tasks before receiving them. You can't give up halfway or else you get nothing." The butler hands Jason a plane ticket to the countryside. Hearing that he needs to complete all the tasks, Jason is about to give up. But when he returns home, he tells his girlfriend about it, and she encourages him, saying he can earn a lot of money. Jason thinks, who wouldn't want to have a lot of money so early in life? The next morning, he goes to the airport, follows the instructions, gets off the plane, and there is the grandpa's friend Nick, who picks him up and takes him to a farm. The next day, Jason refuses to get out of bed, but Nick manages to wake him up. Soon, Nick takes Jason to the farm and tells him to build a fence, offering him $1 for each piece of wood he puts. After Nick walks away, Jason chooses to lie on the ground. Nick ignores him every day. Nick takes him to the farm punctually, and Jason gradually realizes that this is his test. He won't be able to leave this place. He starts hitting the stakes, but they end up crooked. When Nick sees this, he knocks down all the stakes with the truck and tells Jason to start over and do things calmly. Jason puts the stakes straight and firm and manages to make a beautiful fence. After completing the task, Nick takes him to the airport and says that after he managed to build the fence, he's ready for anything in life. Jason doesn't understand and asks about his gift. Nick just smiles. Feeling deceived, Jason returns and asks the lawyer if the work was the gift. Although Jason is irritated, he understands his grandfather's good intentions. He asks about the next gift, and the lawyer says he will find out when he gets home. Jason returns home, but instead of a surprise, the gift turns out to be a shock. His house has been emptied by the lawyer, and his own sports car has been towed. Later, when he tries to settle the bill at the restaurant with his girlfriend, his bank cards are blocked. Jason asks his girlfriend to pay, but she starts crying and accuses him of not loving her anymore. She takes advantage of the situation to run away. Jason tries to stay at a friend's house overnight, but everyone refuses him. Irritated, he breaks the cell phone. Now, Jason has nothing. Grandpa laughs and says that when you have nothing, you can see who your true friends are. He himself has experienced it 2 or 3 times and informs Jason that the next challenge is to find a true friend now that he's everything. The billionaire's grandson can only sleep by the pool, but is soon kicked out by the maid using a toilet brush. He starts sleeping on a park bench. A homeless man stares at him. He was lying on the bench. The homeless man suggests flipping a coin to decide who gets the bench, but when they reach into their pockets, they find nothing. At that moment, a little girl who was watching lends them a coin. Jason tosses it in the air, and the homeless man catches it and runs away. Jason is left in shock. The next morning, Jason sees the homeless man trying to steal food and feels he must do something. Jason then confronts him. The homeless man tries to reclaim the bench, but quickly realizes it won't happen. As a thank you, the mother and daughter invite Jason to a picnic with them. After hearing about Jason's situation, the little girl decides to help him pass the test. They go to the lawyer's office, and the little girl claims to be an old friend of Jason, but the lawyer doesn't believe and asks if Jason offered anything in return for friendship. The little girl cleverly responds, "Look at him. Do you think he has anything to offer?" After passing the test, the lawyer hands Jason an envelope. Excitedly, Jason takes it and opens it in the elevator. However, there's only $1,600 in the envelope, the money he earned working on the farm. The grandfather tells him the third test is to use this money to help someone in need. Jason immediately knows whom to help and plans to give the money to the homeless man. However, when he finds him, the homeless man drops a bag and flees. He was a thief. Jason takes a look at the bag and realizes it belongs to the mother and daughter, containing overdue hospital bills. He goes to the hospital to return the bag to them, but sees the little girl lying in bed without hair. He quietly places the bag on the table, and as he's leaving, he meets the little girl's mother in the hallway. She tells him the truth. The little girl has leukemia and is undergoing chemotherapy. Jason knows whom he should help now, so he uses the $1,600 to pay off their debts. success, passing the third test. The grandfather tells Jason about the fourth test, hoping he can understand the importance of family, and also mentions bringing someone home to celebrate Thanksgiving. Jason immediately thinks of the little girl. He finds her in the church, and she tells him she doesn't have much time. She's afraid her mother will be alone after she's gone and wants Jason to take care of her. Not wanting to see the little girl upset, Jason agrees. He brings the little girl's mother home to celebrate Thanksgiving, but the atmosphere there is ruined by fights over the inheritance. Furious, Jason takes the little girl's mother away. He finally understands the meaning of family, which is to support and help each other and not to fight over money. The next test comes quickly as the grandfather wants him to go to South America. Jason says goodbye to the little girl and promises to come back to spend Christmas with her. Then he traveled to where his father had died. Jason follows a guy to see the wreckage of the plane. He realizes his grandfather wasn't to blame for his father's death. All this time, it was his father's choice to impulsively take that flight due to his dissatisfaction with his job, resulting in the tragedy. Meanwhile, danger silently approaches. A group of criminals captures the billionaire's grandson and throws him into a cell. They plan to use him as a hostage to demand a ransom in cash. However, weeks pass, and Jason remains imprisoned with no news. The criminals, who still haven't received the money, go to the cell. They blindfold him with a cloth and drag him out with a loaded AK pointed at him, ready to send him to heaven. Trembling with fear, Jason prepares for the worst. But after a burst of gunfire, he realizes that the criminals are celebrating Christmas and playing a prank on him. Everyone is drunk and even forgets to lock Jason's cell door. Seeing this as an opportunity, Jason quietly opens the door and escapes. Along the way, he remembers the guide and goes to get him. He knocks down the guard and manages to free the guide. They successfully escape from the criminals and return to their country, where the little girl's mother awaits them at the airport. When he arrives at the hospital, the little girl scolds Jason for not keeping the promise to spend Christmas with her, and as compensation, she demands that he take her horseback riding. So Jason takes the mother and daughter to Nick's farm. At the farm, Nick decorates the entire house and covers the path with snow for the little girl. She is enchanted by everything. Jason then receives the final test from his grandfather, which is to have a dream of his own. However, Jason doesn't have a dream, so he asks the little girl what her dream is. She says she doesn't want to die and wants to stay with her mother. Jason comforts her with a strong hug. Back at the company, Jason tells the lawyer that although he doesn't have a dream, he wants to help the little girl fulfill hers. Upon hearing this, the lawyer gives him $100 million as a fund for his dream. With the money, Jason creates Emily's home to help children with health problems. However, while discussing the final details, devastating news arrives. The little girl passed away suddenly shortly afterward. The project was completed, but she isn't there to see it. The lawyer calls Jason and says that the $100 million was also a test, and as he passed all his grandfather's tests, he earned the final gift, an inheritance worth $2 billion. Jason is moved, but feels that in this long journey, he received more valuable gifts.